Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to day number 2 of the Adobe Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. I am Jesús Ramirez and I'll be your host today and all the way up till May 10th where we will have the final Daily Creative Challenge. It's good to see a lot of familiar faces on the chat. I see Kata Jones. I think I've seen her every time I've been on an Adobe Creative, on an Adobe Live, so thank you for that support. How's everybody doing? Thanks for that nice comment, Paul Tranny, who will be here after me, so stick around and watch him. Yeah, hi from Arizona. How's it going? Anyway, so thank you everybody for joining us today. We're gonna do the second Adobe Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge today, and we will be creating an album cover today. So for this challenge, we will have a template that you can download, and let me show you how that works. I'm going to go into the Behance.net website, and you're probably already here, but in case you're watching a replay a little later on, what you need to do is go into the Live tab and check out the day number 2 Daily Creative Challenge. And from here, you can go into the link where, whoa, I don't think that was the right link there. There's usually a link here that gets me into the challenge, but it looks like we still have the XD challenge on there. So let me try to get to the one for today for the Photoshop one, which is, I'm gonna have to test my memory here. It's Behance.net Daily Creative Challenge. It was in my memory. It was already saved on my browser. So what you have to do is go onto Behance.net/Daily Creative Challenge, and from there you will see this page. If you haven't already, click on this blue button to register so you can get notifications when the daily challenges go up. I've already registered, so I recommend you do so. And if you scroll down, you will see these boxes. They will open up on the corresponding day at 8 in the morning. Today's challenge has a PSD file to download, get template. So you can download that template file and follow along with me with that file today. So you can do that now, and then when I start, you'll have it open in Photoshop. I also want to mention that whatever you create either today or in any of the challenges, you can share them on Behance with the keyword PSD Daily Challenge. And the deadline to submit all challenges is April, I don't think this is correct. It says create and share challenges by April 15th. I don't think that date is correct, but the challenges, you should submit them before the challenges are over. So what you need to do is upload it to Behance with the keyword PS Daily Challenge. Make sure that you add the PS in capital letters and Daily Challenge in lowercase letters. That way, when we do a search for the challenges on the last day and review some of them, they will come up because it is case sensitive. So if I were to type PS Daily Challenges, and I don't think I spelled it correctly, so let me go back because it didn't come up. Sorry about that. Let me go back and I'll just copy and paste it because it looks like I'm not doing it the right way. And it's not going back. Man, I'm really having a lot of challenges today. It's a PS Daily Challenge. Let me just copy that and I'll search for it on Behance. And I'll remove the dot. But anyway, so if you get the right tag on there, we'll be able to look up the work that we've done. So you can see the work that we did yesterday was the photo to a comic book effect. And just because I'm a big fan of cats, this is the one that really catches my attention. So we learned how to create a comic book effect from a photo. So they did a really good job here with those filters that we applied. So that's the reason that you want to use the right keyword when you upload your work to Behance. So PS in capital letters and Daily Challenge lowercase. So we're gonna also move on to Photoshop now, where we're gonna work with today's daily challenge. Once again, if you haven't uploaded the template, you can go into Behance.net/Daily Creative Challenge, and you can download the template here. Get template under Wednesday, May 1st, and this will be the template that we're going to use for today's daily challenge. So download that and open it up in Photoshop. Also, I just want to mention really quickly that if you haven't already, joined the community on Discord where myself, the Adobe team, and other viewers can help you with any questions that you may have and also give you some design feedback. So join the community on Discord. I'm using Photoshop CC for all the challenges. If you're using an older version of Photoshop, you can follow along, but it'll be a little easier with Photoshop CC, and you can get that here. You can also get the 7-day trial if you like, and follow along with me using the trial. So let's move on to Photoshop. And this is the template that you should have downloaded. You can use this background texture if you want for your final piece or use your own. It really doesn't matter. I just wanted to give you an option so that you could have it available to you if you didn't have a photo of a texture. So we're going to be creating an album cover, and this already has the proper dimensions. And there's also some instructions, brief instructions of what we're gonna do today on there if you forget. These daily creative challenges are meant for beginners, but that doesn't mean that the projects are just gonna be simple. We're actually gonna create some pretty cool and complex looking images, but using simple steps that beginners can follow along with. So we're gonna start with this file here. In case you don't know how to open a file in Photoshop, you just go into File and Open, and you find the template and then click on Open, and it will open up the template that you downloaded from Behance.net. So this is the template that we're going to start with, and this is where everybody should be at this point. So I'm going to go into File, Place Embedded, to bring in a file into Photoshop that we're going to work with. And the file that I'm going to select is this one here, number 2. You can use any image that you like of a person. You can take a selfie if you like, or just, take a picture with a camera. The important thing is to make sure that you get the person behind either a flat background or with a blurry background so that it's easy to mask out. So what we're gonna do in this case is we're going to remove the background from the foreground. So we're going to do a background removal, and it's gonna be very simple, as you will see. And we're gonna start by selecting the foreground, and I'm going to click on the quick selection tool, which allows us to make selections very quickly. That's why it's named the quick selection tool. And the way it works is you can just click and drag to make a selection around your subject, like so. And this is what you would do if you have an older version of Photoshop. But with Photoshop CC, there's actually a faster way of doing this. I'm going to deselect by pressing Control-D, Command-D on the Mac to deselect, to remove the marching ants. And I'm gonna show you what you can do with Photoshop CC, and that is use Adobe's artificial intelligence, Adobe Sensei, to analyze the image and make a selection for us just by clicking one button. So let me show you how that works. With the quick selection tool active, you can just click on Select Subject, and that will make a selection around whatever Photoshop thinks is the subject of the image. In this case, the person standing there. And as you can see, it does a really good job really quickly. It's not 100% accurate, but it's a great starting point to making selections. So with the selection active, I can refine the selection to keep the areas that I want and remove the areas that I don't want. And there's really 2 ways of doing that. The first way is by first zooming into the image. So I'm going to zoom in with the zoom tool and click on this area here. Notice how Adobe Sensei missed this part. We can easily fix that by going into the quick selection tool and clicking on this minus icon. And I'll reduce the size of the brush by tapping on the left and right bracket keys on the keyboard, or I can reduce the size by using this slider here. Either way works. And just click and drag to subtract from that selection. If I want to add from the selection, I can click on this icon and then click and drag to add. I don't think I have any areas to add. Maybe this area right here. So I'm just adding to the selection from these points. And I don't have to worry about the hair. I'm gonna come back and fix that later. And I'll double click on the hand tool to fit the image to screen. So when you double click on this hand, it just zooms out and fits the image in the screen. So what you want to do, that was one of the ways in which you can refine the selection that you create by Adobe Sensei. The second way of doing it is by simply pressing the Q key on the keyboard, the Q key, which enables the quick mask mode. This gives you a visual representation of what the selection looks like. The areas that you keep are the normal color, and the areas that you are going to hide are shown in red. And you can adjust the selection by painting with either white to reveal or black to conceal. And we can use the brush tool for that. So I'm going to select the brush tool, and here in the background and foreground color, these here, you can select either black or white to paint over that quick mask. If you see different colors, for example, maybe you have red or a different color, it actually wouldn't show colors because we're working with the layer mask, but if you have different shades of gray and you want to see the default colors, which is black and white, you can just click on this icon here, and you can see the foreground color and the background color is white. So those are the default. And you can swap between those by pressing the X key on the keyboard. See how I'm pressing the X key and it's just swapping those colors back and forth? Or you can click on this little icon to swap them back and forth. So if I want to keep something, I can zoom in into this area with the zoom tool and actually hide something. I'll swap those colors to have black on top, and I can just paint that area away, like so. Once again, I'll double click on the hand tool or zoom out, and we have a really, really good selection. I can press the Q key once again, and that's my selection. To actually hide the pixels, all I need to do is click on this icon here. It's the one with the square, white square, and the little black circle, which is the add layer mask icon. When I click on that, the background will disappear. Now with the move tool, I can just click and drag and place them anywhere that I want. So I can just place them right here on the bottom left corner. You can place your model subject anywhere that you like. In this case, I'm just gonna place mine on the bottom left. Now I can refine, actually before I place them in the bottom left, I need to refine the selection. And I can easily refine the selection by double clicking on the mask, or if I have the properties panel open, I can click on selected mask when the layer mask is active. So if I go in, another way of doing that is by going into select, selected mask. But I think the properties panel is much easier. If you don't see the properties panel, you can go into Windows and Properties. And you can click on selected mask. And selected mask will allow you to refine the edges of the selection that you just made, of the mask that you just created. So we can zoom in so that we can see what we're doing, and we can see different views. I'm gonna use the black and white view so that you can see what these sliders are controlling. See how the edges are sort of jaggy, they're not smooth. I wanna smooth those out just to have a smoother selection. And I can do that just by dragging the smooth slider. See how I'm dragging the smooth slider and it just smooths out those edges? So I'm smoothing out the edges. And I can add a shift edge, so I can bring in the edge inwards so I don't have fringing that black line around the selection. I'm just moving it in to hide that. So I shifted the edge in a negative percentage just to go in. And I can press OK, and you can see the results there. Now I'm gonna work with the hair, and I'm gonna go back into selected mask. And the reason that I'm doing it in 2 steps is so that the adjustments that I make with the sliders don't affect the hair. Because if I start adjusting the hair, the adjustments that I make with the sliders will also affect the hair, and I don't necessarily want that. I'm going to go now into the on layers view so that I can see what this is gonna look like on the actual composite that we're working with, on the actual album cover. And I'm going to zoom out with the zoom tool just a little bit. And I'm going to select this tool right here, the Refine Edge tool. And if I click and drag, you'll see how I'm refining the edge and it's finding the strands of hair and masking out the background. Again, it's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. You don't have to be. You can hide the pixels that are very difficult to select and nobody will ever know that they were there. So I'm gonna, I have the negative zoom selected, so I'm just gonna select the positive one to zoom in. And what I'm gonna do now is simply refine that mask by subtracting some of these pixels that don't look very good on the composite, like so. I'll double click on the hand tool, and that's looking pretty good. So I'm just gonna press the OK button, and that removes or hides the pixels on his hair, and now I have a much, much better selection or layer mask. Then I can click and drag him to the left. The final step in this project is to add a coloring effect to the entire image so that it looks good, or so that it creates an effect that looks a lot like what you would see in an album cover. So you can create this cool effect by clicking on this icon here, the new fill or adjustment layer icon, which is the circle half filled with white, and you can select gradient map. A gradient map will take the foreground color and background color and create a gradient based on the luminosity of the image. Let me show you how that looks. Right now, this gradient is saying that the darkest pixel should be white and the brightest pixel should be black, which is why we got that effect there. Probably makes more sense if I use a black and white colors to that. So let me show you by first resetting my gradients. So if you click on this gear icon, you can reset your gradients and you'll see the default ones, which are those. So black to white. So now the darkest pixels are black and the brightest ones are white. You can see how that maps those colors onto my composite. If I select this one here, you can see how now the darkest pixels are purple and the brightest ones are orange. So you can kind of get the idea of how this is mapping colors onto the luminosity of the image. And it's very simple. All I'm doing is just clicking on these gradients to create those effects. And you can also edit your gradient. For example, if I select the purple to orange, I can double click on the gradient and I can adjust the points. See how I'm dragging the points and making adjustments? You can adjust it any way that you like, and you can create new points. For example, if I click on this orange one and drag it to the left, and I click here at the bottom, I create a new point based on the color that I last had selected. So now I can double click on this point to edit it, and I can make it any color that I want. So I can make it white, for example, and it creates that effect there. I'll press OK, and I can continue adjusting that effect as you see there. Also, another quick tip, if you click on this gear icon, you have more color harmonies. And one of the cool ones to use specifically for this example is the photographic toning effect. If I click on photographic toning and press OK, I'm gonna get more toning effects that I think will work great with something like this. So you can select the one that you like, the one that better tells the story of the album cover. I kind of like this one, so this is what I'll select, and I'll press OK. The next step is to add text to the image, and you can add any text that you like. Maybe somebody in the chat could give me a good album name, but for now, I'll just simply type the words live. And the font that I'm using is a font called Brush Script, which is a Adobe Fonts font that you can download if you are a member of the Creative Cloud. And if you go into fonts.adobe.com, you have all these different fonts that you can download into the Creative Cloud, including Photoshop, of course. So check it out, fonts.adobe.com, and you'll find the font that I used here, which was Brush Script. So let me see if I can find it really quick. Brush Script. Here it is, Brush Script, and I can just activate it so that it syncs up to my Creative Cloud and I can use it in Photoshop. So you can do the same if you want to use that font. DJ Pac-Man is one of the one of the names that was suggested by Tim. I like it, DJ Pac-Man. So you can change it to DJ Pac-Man. And I'll resize that text by clicking on these corner handles and just maybe placing it here. And you can change the color of text really, really simply by clicking on the horizontal type tool. And if you have the text layer selected, you can just double click on the color swatch there and change it to a different color. And I'll maybe select a yellow color. And that's how you can create your album cover. Obviously, in the daily creative challenges, you will have your own images. You can use different color gradients. You can have a different title for the album, but the steps are pretty much the same. I'm looking forward to see what you guys come up with. Once you finish your project, what you need to do is save it as a file that you can upload onto Behance. And the way that you would do that is just simply by going into File, Export, and you can do an export as. And you can save it as a PNG or a JPEG. If you save it as a JPEG, I would use 100% quality, and I can just export the image. I'll export it onto my desktop, and I can just call it album cover. You can call your file whatever you like. And when you go into Behance, what you want to do is when you complete your project, what you want to do is upload it to Behance so that you can share your image to the world and you have a new portfolio piece. And make sure that you use the tag, which is PS Daily Creative Challenge. And if you forget what that is, like I did earlier, is right here, PS Daily Creative Challenge. So I'm just going to copy that, and I'm going to click on this Create a Project button, and I'll quickly show you how you can upload a project to Behance. So here in Behance.net, I'm going to upload my album cover that I just saved from Photoshop. There it is. And I can give it a title if I want to. So this is the DJ Pac-Man album cover. And I can click on continue. And now I can set a preview for that project. So I can click and drag to place it, or I can zoom in and out. So it really depends on how you want to save that file. So I can give it a title. Project. I'll call it DJ Pac-Man album cover, and click on crop and continue. Now this is the important thing. You can fill in all these different options, but the important one, at least for the daily creative challenges, is the keywords. So I can just paste my keyword here, PS in capital letters, then daily creative challenge in lowercase. And I can click on the, type a comma just to finalize that keyword. And you can enter all kinds of keywords that you like, but the important one for the daily creative challenge is this one, PS Daily Creative Challenge. And when you're done, you can just click on the publish button, and this will publish your project onto your Behance page. So I look forward to seeing what everybody has created for this challenge. What you need to do is, once again, let me just get back to the page. Go into the Behance.net/daily creative challenges and get the keyword there. If you forget it, share it on Behance, of course. And I also look forward to seeing your projects on the Discord community. Let me go on to the Discord community just to show it to you guys. This is it here. You can see that I'm one of the mentors. We have Claudia, Sam, Tim, the Adobe team, and you guys discussing the designs that people have created. So if you look at the design feedback channel, you'll see some of the projects that people have worked on yesterday, which was the photo to comic book effect. And maybe somebody has already uploaded some album covers. I can't really tell. Let me just go to the bottom of the page and see if I can see one. But anyway, this is a really cool one from yesterday. So check that out. So once again, that's on the Discord channel, which you can get to by clicking on this icon. So I'll be leaving some comments. Oh, and there's a link to it right there too, if you're interested. So thank you so much for joining me on day number 2 of the Daily Creative Challenges. I look forward to seeing what you create. I'll be back again tomorrow and the rest of the week, this week and next week. Stick around because we have more amazing lives coming up. So yeah, thank you so much, and I'll talk to you guys again tomorrow. See you.